There are many atrocities which are happening as a result of the vacuum in authority and responsibility that as the troops have moved down from the northern part of the Ivory Coast, the rebel troops, they've gone into the cities, and we have reports from people on the ground, pastors, reliable sources that have reported a lot of pillage, robbery, and a lot of refugees which are now preceding the troops.
There's real concern that this may lead to another Rwanda, or could possibly, an ethnic conflict there, and we've already seen some mass graves. What do you know about that?
Well, we have some footage from both videos and still shots of about 800 to 1,000 people that have been massacred. Of course, the blame is going to be, well, that's from the present regime's forces, and the other side is the blame is going to be on the forces of the rebel side. From all appearances, it appears to be the rebel troops who are moving through, because the gbagbos people really have no reason to massacre anybody in that area. These are people who have been faithful supporters of the present regime, and so it looks like most of the blame is going to end up in final analysis on the rebel forces.
Now, we understand there may be as many as 1 million refugees as a result of this conflict that's going on right now. How do we get aid to them? How do you get any relief in there?
Right now, there is no good way to do it. What we are doing is we're amassing whatever resources we can in terms of money, and trying to get that to the contacts that we have inside the country. With the communications down, with the banks closed, there's no good opportunity for that to take place right now. But as soon as the doors do open, we will come in with whatever resources we've been able to amass in order to help. Because right now, in many of the houses of the Christians, of the pastors that we've been in contact with, they've got 4 or 5 families living in one house. They have no food, no water, unless they've been able to set it aside in advance. And the needs are going to just be greater and greater as time goes on. They're just going to be on the point of starvation. It is not safe for them to go outside of their homes.
And it's a very dire situation, is it not, at this point? Now, I think there are a lot of Christians in America and around the world who mistakenly believe that this is a Muslim-Christian conflict. But I've been there. You've been there. It's much more than that. Tell us about it. It's more ethnic, is it not?
It's more ethnic, and the problem in that part of the world is that whoever is trying to gain power tends to look to other sources to supply, to equip, and things of that nature. And what has happened is that in some of the film strips that we have of actual happenings, one of the languages that you hear is the language of the people where it's spoken in Burkina Faso. And so we know that there are a lot of those people coming down from the north who are helping the rebels or following in after them. And of course, they have nothing at stake whatsoever as far as in the country itself. It's just something for them to become involved in, and they have some authority. And all the things that you saw in the Rwanda movie, the Hotel Rwanda movie, yes, those are our fears, is that may prevail, because you're talking about people from the north who have mostly an Islamic background, coming down into the south where most of the Ivorian Christians reside.
And many of those in the north aren't even Ivorian. My understanding, a lot of them are from Burkina Faso.
That's correct.
As is Alassane Ouattara, the internationally recognized president, wasn't even born in Ivory Coast.
That's correct. And Gbagbo allowed him to run in the election that they had last year, to show an openness for a form of democracy. Our hope and our prayer is that there will be democracy in the country, but based on past histories and things of that nature of African nations, we're it's a wait-and-see thing as far as we are concerned.
And what is your concern for the future of missions work in that country? It has been open in the past.
It's been very open, and we've had some successful crusades, open-air crusades in many of the cities, some of which, some where the atrocities have been committed. And we have precious believers and people in those areas, pastors who are completely committed to the Ivorian people and to bringing Christ into the culture to a greater extent than is there.
But what is the concern for the future, though, if we see Gbagbo deposed and Alassane Ouattara and the new forces control that country?
Our prayer is that it will remain open. Our hope now, in terms of reason and analysis, if it goes the way that most of the countries have in the past, we'll see a general tightening up and restrictions applied to the freedom that we have had in the past with preaching the gospel.
And finally, how can Christians, many of our viewers are interested in this country, in Ivory Coast, how can they pray? What should they pray at this time?
Well, number one, we love the Ivorian people. They're good people, and we pray that the atrocities will stop. We also want to pray that the opportunity to preach the gospel will remain open, as it has been open in past years. We pray that the international community will see the needs of the people and will begin to serve them in terms of getting them the food and the resources that they need to prevail. There are many other things, but I think those are probably the key things: that the gospel will continue, that the atrocities will stop, that there will be a sense of justice and a just peace after this, and that the democratic process will prevail in the country, because it's one of the few countries that has been fairly open to change and to democracy and to a democratic approach.
Okay, Missions Pastor Ted Jensen, we will be praying for the peace of Ivory Coast and praying for the future there